seas. Are you aware of such a report? And if you are aware of the existence of such a report, should not that report, because of the great importance this issue has been given in this campaign, be released to the public?
Mr. Cronkite, I naturally am aware of it because I, of course, pay attention to everything Senator Kennedy says, as well as Senator Fulbright. Now, in this connection, I want to point out
everyone is for a strong defense and that everyone favors a balanced budget. You might have added that virtually everyone advocates a tax cut. How can any president curb inflation, cut taxes, increase defense spending, and balance the budget all at the same time?
It's going to be difficult.
That would Diane Sawyer.
Since we are reaching the end of the question period, then, since in every presidential campaign the candidates tend to complain that the opposition candidate is not held accountable for what he or she says, let me give you the chance to do that. Mr. Mondale, beginning with you. What do you think the most outrageous thing is your opponent said in this debate tonight?
You want to give me some suggestions? I'm going to use my time a little differently. I'm going to give the president some credit. I think the president has done some things to raise the sense of spirit, morale, good feeling in this country, and he's entitled to credit for that.
Forced labor, undercutting organized labor. We can do better. For example, in this auditorium today, on the stage, how many of you own or know someone who owns a VCR? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Hands down. There's not one American-made VCR. Not because we can't, because it's not our priority. How many know someone who owns personal NMX missile? Raise your hand. The point is, we are making more of what the world needs less of.
And finally, Mr. Gore.
Well, Mike, I found something to agree with in that answer, too. Collecting taxes more efficiently is a good idea.
Cartel out of Chicago or New York or Los Angeles at that lower interest rate. I think you're right on both points and wrong on Graham Redmond.
Let's move on. All right, no, let's move on.
Far be it from me to suggest otherwise.
Yes, my sixth grade class at St. Clair School wanted to ask, of all these promises you guys are making and all the pledges, will you keep them when you're in office?
Yes.
Possible, and I am delighted to be here tonight with you, Joe. And I, too, want to avoid any personal attacks. I promise not to bring up your singing. So
I promise not to sing.
Okay. Good.
I think if you asked most people in America today that famous question that Ronald Reagan asked, are you better off today than you were 8 years ago, most people would say yes. And I'm pleased to see, Dick, from the newspapers that you're better off than you were 8 years ago, too.
And most of it, and I can tell you, Joe, that the government had absolutely nothing to do with it.
This question is to you, but
I can see my wife, and I think she's thinking, gee, I wish she would go out into the private sector.
Well, I'm going to try to help you do that, Joe.
Are there also underlying character issues that you believe are serious enough to deny Senator Kerry the job as Commander-in-Chief of the United States?
Whew, that's a loaded question. First of all, I admire Senator Kerry's service to our country. I admire the fact that he is a great dad. Appreciate the fact that his daughters have been so kind to my daughters in what has been a pretty hard experience for, I guess, young girls seeing their dads out there campaigning. I admire the fact that he served for 20 years in the Senate.
Over here. Mr. President, if there were a vacancy in the Supreme Court and you had the opportunity to fill that position today, who would you choose and why?
I'm not telling. I really haven't picked anybody yet. Plus, I want them all voting for me.
And I appreciate the chance to be with the President. I'm pleased to be at the University of Denver. I appreciate their welcome and also the Presidential Commission on these debates. And congratulations to you, Mr. President, on your anniversary. I'm sure this was the most romantic place you could imagine, here with me. So congratulations. This is obviously a very tender topic.
You guys know that since Obama has been in office.
We're allowed to bring notes?
Yeah, since the president has been in office.
Before we leave, is there anything that you really wanted to say tonight that you haven't gotten a chance to say? And we'll start with Governor O'Malley.
A compliment. I will say this about Hillary. She doesn't quit. She doesn't give up. I respect that. I tell it like it is. She's a fighter. I disagree with much of what she's fighting for. I do disagree with her judgment in many cases. But she does fight hard, and she doesn't quit, and she doesn't give up, and I consider that to be a very good trait.